Hey guys, so this video, brace yourself. This video is going to be about the tragedy that happened in Texas, okay? And like I said, brace yourself. Um, but to as a caveat to the things I'm going to say um, later on in this video, I want everyone to know that I have the utmost respect for law enforcement, the LAPD, and the Sheriff's Department. I have friends, a couple of friends that are former police officers in the LAPD, and one friend that's currently a sheriff deputy in the Sheriff's Department here in Los Angeles County. And these guys are stand-up guys. They're brave, they're loyal, they're honest, they're hardworking, they're great cops, or they were great cops. A couple of them have retired, and the one friend of mine is still a sheriff's deputy, but he will be leaving the force soon to get into like private security and stuff. He said there's just more money in private security. So anyhow, but these are good friends of mine, and they're great guys. But even they have said on occasion after a few beers that, maybe there are a couple guys on the force and in the department that maybe shouldn't have a badge. Maybe should have picked another career. Not because their hearts weren't in the right place, but because, they're not good at their job. And, they made some mistakes that they've gotten away with, and like any place of employment, you've got good employees and you've got the mediocre employees, and then you have bad employees. I mean, I think every workplace is the same, and the police department is probably no different. The sheriff's department no different. I'd even go as far as to say maybe even the FBI is no different. I mean, who knows, right? But putting that aside, I want to tell you a story that I read about a number of years ago, and this is maybe 5 years ago. There was a story that I read online about a young man, I think he was in his late 20s, who was taking his 4-year-old son to go have pancakes one early Sunday morning. It was something that they did on a regular basis. They would get up early and they'd, go have pancakes before he had to drop his son off at his mother's while he went to work. It was something that they did every week. And while they were driving to go get pancakes, a few blocks away, the police were trying to stop this young woman who was known to the police department as a drug addict, a meth addict. And they knew where she lived. She had a record. They were familiar with her, and she had even run from police previously. I don't think it was in a car. I think the story said that they had tried to stop her once on the street, and she ran from them, and they eventually, caught up with her and tackled her. And anyhow, so they knew that she had the potential to run from police. She had done it before, so they tried to initiate a traffic stop on this young woman, and of course she ran. And they chased her. Like most police would. They, pursued her. And she got increasingly more desperate and more reckless. And they continued to chase her. And unfortunately, she ended up by running into this young man and his small son and killed this little boy. Now, that story broke my heart. I mean, there were weeks that, I couldn't get it out of my head, and I just couldn't imagine how much anger and frustration that this young father felt after knowing that the police continued to chase this woman. They knew where she lived. They knew where she was probably going to end up at the end of the day or in a day or two. And they knew that she would run and that she was probably on meth, and they continued to chase and just how angry he would be and how frustrated he would be. And I don't know how I would react to something like that. The thought of losing one of my kids is just horrifying. It's one of these gut-wrenching, makes you kind of like want to vomit, one of those feelings. And it happens all the time. I see more and more police getting themselves into trouble with the media and with civilians in regards to shooting, and whether it's justified or excessive force, whether it's, you know, justified. And you even watch cops, and every once in a while you think to yourself, did he really need to body slam that lady? You know, did he really need to throw her down on the concrete face first and put his knee in her back? I mean, look, like I said before, I know that the police have a tough job, and I know that it's high stress, and I know it's very dangerous, and, you know, but shouldn't we have some standards? Shouldn't we hold them to a higher level of accountability when they carry guns and they have the authority, you know, to do what they do? You know, with great power comes great responsibility. And now more than ever, with these body cams and dash cams and people with cell phones everywhere, we're seeing more and more, in my opinion, that the police aren't being as responsible as they should. And I'm surprised that episodes like in Texas haven't happened more often, because I am sure there are a lot of really pissed off people out there, people that have been wronged by the police. I'm surprised more of this doesn't go on. And unfortunately, I have a feeling because of this instance, it's probably going to happen more often. And I'm not saying this is a good thing. Violence is always bad. Killing innocent people is always bad. It's always bad. But we're getting to a point in our society where, you know, something's got to change. Something has to change. I mean, I don't know what that is. Do you have any suggestions? What do you think is the solution? Leave a comment. Let me know. What do you think is the solution to problems like this? You know, I thought that this country was becoming less racist, but I was wrong. It appears to me to be becoming more racist. It's like reverse racism is on the rampage right now. I mean, what do we do about that? You know, is that a product of, you know, the 100 years or so of regular racism? Has it, you know, created this reverse racism? Much like, you know, the how feminism has created this culture of anti-feminists, which seems to be even more rabid than the feminists. You know, it's getting out of control, guys. I mean, and what do we do about it? You know, how do you convince people not to be angry when they have a legitimate reason to be angry? I mean, black people have a legitimate reason to be angry about racism. They have a right to be angry about it. I mean, I see it all the time. And this anger is turning into its own kind of hatred. And now it's turned into violence. This man was targeting white police officers and killing them. And he was good at it. I mean, the first reports, you know, were multiple shooters. No, it was just one guy. I mean, haven't you played Call of Duty? You know, unfortunately, a lot of these cops have never been, you know, in a real combat situation. This guy, it was experienced, he was tactical, he was well armed, and it's scary. And I don't think this has anything to do with guns or gun control. I mean, that argument is just dumb, because this guy, this person, would have figured out some other way to do what he did, in my opinion. If he didn't have the guns, yes, the guns made it much easier, but he'd have figured out something else. I mean, he was talking about bombs and all this other stuff. But yeah, what are we going to do about this? It's getting out of control. It's getting to the point where I'm fearful for my safety and the safety of my children. Because you just never know when it's going to pop up. You never know when it's just going to explode. And we need to do something. And I just don't know what it is. Thanks for watching. I know this was a ramble, but leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Thanks.